So tell us, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm leaving YouTube for a bit.
I don't think I've ever felt like that. Like, people ask me like, oh, were you burnt out from content creation? I was like, it was more than burnout. There was no joy in life. There was no energy in life.
When you get to a point of realizing that something isn't for you, it is really hard to enjoy it, regardless of what it is. It was tough to film videos. I felt like I was having to get you excited, so I was expending more energy to try and get you on board.
Oh my god, that is horrendous.
Creatively, I just didn't know what to do. I think initially I was like, am I even gonna enjoy filming solo? Fuck's sake, I'm building this fucking brand which might not even exist in a couple of months. You know, the channel's never gonna recover back to where it was. Like, every video I was making was like, the views seem to be going down.
You know, we got one chance in this fucking life, and you're gonna spend the whole time just chasing.
Will you ever be seen on the channel again? The Zach Allsop channel? Do you know what I was gonna call it this time round?
What?
The Jay and Zach podcast, because we're no longer a brand entity.
Jay and Zach. Yeah, I think it'd be good just like telling people like where we're both at, you know, like personally, professionally. 14 months. It doesn't seem that long ago, does it? Like, it seems like I remember that chat so vividly, and like when I left, it seems like yesterday, but I don't know. It's kind of. It doesn't seem that long, and I think in some regards it's not, but also so much can happen in that period, and for me so much has happened, and I think me and you as well, we've not had that many long chats really, have we? And we used to live with each other and run the channel together, so we'd be doing long chats non-stop. So yeah, I think there's also that aspect in there as well, which should just be like good to catch up and just see where you're at and shit.
Yeah, well, I think the best place to start would be where you are. I think like the curiosity of the people who are going to watch this are going to be like, because we made the video in here just as I moved into the studio.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, that was like you out of the content until the decision was made, and then we sort of put it out. I don't know how many months, like 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
Where we've like told people you ain't coming back, but yeah, where the fuck have you been? What you've been up to? You've been dabbling with a lot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be hard to like summarize the last 14 months because it has been crazy. Like when I left, I don't think I've ever felt like that. Like, people ask me like, oh, were you burnt out from content creation? I was like, it was more than burnout. It was this whole, it was like, was it a quarter life crisis? Was it an awakening? I don't know. Like, I've never felt like that where I didn't hate what I was doing. Well, there was no joy in life. There was no energy in life. And there was so much like confusion.
Well, I think when you get to a point of realizing that something isn't for you, then it would zap. It is really hard to enjoy it, regardless of what it is, right? And I think that's probably what's confusing to people, is that like on the surface everything's good.
Yeah.
But like when you tap out mentally from like no matter what it is, it's like a struggle.
Yeah. I don't know whether I tapped out though. I think I just started realizing that I wasn't really enjoying it, and was like, what is this? This is everything I've ever wanted. I've worked 7 years for this, you know, like 4 years on the first business, 3 years on the YouTube channel, and then finally I'd got everything. I was like, this isn't really doing anything for me. And so yeah, I went to Mexico. I didn't really think that that'd be the answer to my problem. I didn't think, oh, I'll go traveling and I'll love it and that is the answer. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do, so I'll just go Mexico. And I've got family here, like cousins and auntie and uncle. Traveled for like 2.5 months, and like, yeah, man, I'm not even joking. I didn't really enjoy the traveling that much. Like, I met like cool people and stuff, and they'd like worked in Tesco and saved up loads of money, and were like so excited to be out there. And I was just like kind of depressed. Like, yeah, nice one, lads. Yeah, cool. And I didn't really enjoy it that much. But then I met a girl that I really liked, and I still didn't know what I was going to do with my life when I was meant to go home for Christmas. And the idea of just like living with my mum in Manchester with terrible weather in December, January, February, March, you know, terrible English weather, especially Manchester, and not knowing what I wanted to do was just horrifying to me. I was like, oh my God, no. So yeah, I stayed in Mexico City. It was like 25 degrees every day, gorgeous food, gorgeous like really good prices as well. Like, I wasn't making any money. And yeah, I had this girl that I really liked. And yeah, started advising companies in like January when I was like, shit, I need to make some income. I'm spending my savings, and But I fucking hated it, man. There was one crypto exchange in Hong Kong. It was like $100 million crypto exchange. In like 3 days, I knocked them up like these ideas of what they should do in their content. I think they pay like $7,500 for it, dollars. And I just hated it, man. And then there was another company that I was advising, and I was like, you need a bit more help. Let me do more advice. And yeah, they paid me like a decent salary for like 3-4 hours a day part-time work. Hated it. Quit that after 6 weeks. And I was like, what am I doing, man? What am I, like, I'm fucked. Like, I need to make money in this capitalistic society, and I hate making money.
Yeah.
And then I had this idea of like, partnering YouTube creators who've got huge demand within their audience with experts who've got huge expertise, and creating like really amazing educational experiences and like cohort-based courses. And the idea behind it is like Ali Abdaal, he's just made like 4.7 million on his revenue from his channel, but he's just a productivity freak, right? The guy doesn't stop in the nicest way possible. I love that guy. And but like we for example, I started working on a course and it was so hard to do. So when I work with an expert who got an amazing knowledge base and then partner them with a creator, and it was like learn with me. So I'd find an expert in like personal finance, work with you who may not have a good personal finance, Zach. And you say, right, I'm taking this course on personal finance. It's 4 weeks long. By the end of it, I'm going to know exactly where my shit is. I'm going to know how to invest it and all that stuff. And you don't have to do anything as a creator, but you bring along 200 members of your audience, charging 200 quid a pop. The maths on that is quite nice. Don't even know what it is. But like, yeah, and it's all split 3 ways. I keep 30%, you keep 30%, they keep 30%, 10% costs. And I was like, okay, cool. I told Georgia, you know, I ran the idea by a few people, and he was like, mate, fuck dude. I was going to do it on gratitude because that's what I needed, like happiness and fulfillment and shit. And he was like, fuck that, bro, do it on NFTs. I want to make money on NFTs and Web3. And I was like, you're right, man. Like, there's so many people making so much money in like the Web3 space and NFT space, and the education's so shit. So that's what I did without much real thinking and validation. So then
Before we go any deeper into that, what is it that you think? Do you think that it was like the succession of going somewhere and then being there probably longer than you thought, and then sort of falling into advising companies because of the pressure to like keep the money topped up? And then why do you think you fell into that? Was it because, like you just said, you thought it would be easy cash, or did you actually like, what was the thinking behind sort of delving into that?
There was so much thinking behind it, way too much thinking behind it. I was doing it like, what? So now I'm a YouTube consultant that's just selling my time and like that shit. I don't want to do that. I'm a little baby. And there was so much thinking around it, as opposed to, you know what? I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna enjoy it. And that's like an interesting point, because like after this cohort-based course business, like I tried it for 4 months. Flew in this expert in the NFT space to Mexico City. We worked on it, and it's crazy how quickly we progressed. Like 30 days after I messaged her, we'd launched like the landing page, the course, we'd outlined it. We made it onto an accelerator program. And we didn't get enough demand, essentially. We sent it for like $700 a pop. And yeah, closed that down, or like said she didn't want to do it in the end. And I was like, okay, fine, I can't do it without you, so I'll leave it. And then I started advising company. Then I was like, right, again, I'm even more down my savings now. I'm like 4 months without we're just spending $3,000 a month, like nice one. I need to make some money. Messed around with another business, which was like home background setups. So the idea that you wouldn't take someone for a coffee in a shitty cafe or a shitty office. So why, when you tune in on your Zoom, does your background look really, really shit? And did that for like 2 weeks. And I was like, this just isn't playing up to my strengths. I've got like this real knowledgeable know-how of how to set up a YouTube channel, the strategy behind it, the nuances behind like thumbnails, titles, packaging, hooks, just all this stuff. It's in there, but it's highly perishable. Like in a year's time, if I don't keep that fresh, it's going to go to like 50% of value and then a 25% of value. Yeah. Yet when I think of the world and how many intelligent people are entering the space, it's the demand for it is through the roof. The supply for it is really small, and it's hugely growing. Like the demand's hugely growing, and my knowledge is hugely perishable. So I was like, I'll double down on that. And then yeah, and now I'm doing it and I fucking love it. And it's so crazy because it's exactly the same thing as I was doing in January 5 months ago. But yeah, I just absolutely love it. And I think, yeah, there's something in there. There's something in there, and I don't know exactly what it is. Can't put it into a nice sentence, but like, I'm doing the same thing as I was doing in January, but I just feel amazing doing it now. And I felt terrible doing it then.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to like what we were saying like 5 minutes ago. I think you went to Mexico and you said you weren't necessarily enjoying the travel part, but you knew that if you was back in Manchester or back in London, you would have felt 10 times worse. So that trip to Mexico was like a necessary step in like getting out of that fucking headspace. And then I don't know, I guess to like, yeah, the audience and people watching this, like those moves and like watching what you were up to next, like may have seemed a bit confusing, but because they only sort of see the surface like part of that. But I guess it's probably interesting for them to know that you were still searching at that time and trying to figure your own shit out, and you were like you were experimenting fast. Like it almost felt like whenever we talked, like in between that, it was almost something else and something else and something else. And
yeah, it's
that's classic you anyway. But
yeah, it's one thing I realised. Yeah, I don't really fuck around. If I see a little opportunity, I fucking go for it. And yeah, it's like fail fast. But one thing I realized about, like one thing I kind of have always known is like I've kind of used entrepreneurship and chasing a business as escape. Like I run really fast to an outcome, but I'm kind of in running towards something, I'm kind of running away from something else as well. And I've usually been running away from myself and like how I feel in the everyday day. And because yeah, it's so rewarded by society, isn't it? Of just like, oh, well done, you're working so hard. Well done, you're getting these amazing results. But it's like, well done for not really feeling like working and feeling a bit upset and not feeling motivation, but grinding out and doing it anyway. And literally, I just got so good at doing that. And I felt so shit in January and February still. And then when I came up with this business idea of partnering creators with someone else, and then like doing it in the NFT and Web3 space, I was like, that is $100 million business. I'm gonna go crazy. And again, I just started like working like fucking crazy. Like I'd be getting up at like 6 a.m. No, not even 6, like 4:30 a.m. because I was so excited and just like work. And then fall asleep, work. And just like calls everywhere. Like I was in Colombia for 4 days and I was just working throughout the whole time, then going out, being absolutely knackered, and then work just because it's adrenaline. And it takes me away from myself and my present and my feelings and my present moment. But that's what it takes to be successful, and then everyone will give me a pat on the back when it's successful. But the same pattern started to happen. Like I felt like I was so anxious throughout that process, and I'd stopped sleeping again. You know, me and you were talking about leaving the business. I was going through a breakup, and I kind of realized like when that didn't work, I was like, I don't want that shit, man. I do not want that shit. And I started saying like, I don't fucking want that shit, bro. Like always chasing and always focusing on 5 years. That I want to enjoy myself, and you know, we got one chance in this fucking life, and you're gonna spend the whole time just chasing. And that's when I really said to myself, like that's now kind of really my sole focus, and that's why I just love everything I'm doing now. Like I do have to pull myself back because I get so excited of all the opportunities of where I could take what I'm working on now. But yeah, it's just like finding a balance and loving what I'm doing is what I'm focusing on.
So to be clear to the audience, you're now sort of consulting, you're like involved in some channels. Like how much do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
like, what you're doing now?
Say as much as you want.
Just like run straight into it.
Yeah, so like if you think about what we've done, Zach, you've been making videos for like 5 years now, the Zach and Jay Show 4 years now. And we lived and breathed it, man. Like we spoke with the best creators in the world. Like we'd push out videos every single week. We'd analyze every single video. We'd come up with ideas constantly. We'd chat in 6 months into the channel with someone like Nico Milano, one of the greatest creators in the world. And then he'd give us advice. Then we'd chat with Archie and Josh. They'd give us ideas. We'd just chat with the best creators in the world on where they're at, and we'd just absorb it. We'd watch every video from Max Fosh, Airac. We'd analyze all that shit. You can't pay a 9-to-5 employee for that information. Like no one's gonna do that. We were fully obsessed with it and lived it, and the results like speak for themselves. And yeah, like companies are clocking on that having 1 million subscribers can increase their valuation by 10 million if they're intelligent with how they work it with community. So yeah, one of the clients that I'm working with is a $100 million company. They spend about 100 grand a month on YouTube, and they are fucking shy. Like they produce really high quality stuff.
Do they mind you saying that?
I told him, man. I told him. So this is an amazing story, man. And this is just fucking, it's such like, this is why when I talk about my like journey in entrepreneurship, I talk about 7 years, because like when I was 18 and I started it, or 9 years, when I was 18 and I started it was the same energy going in. It's this kind of belief that we had in the Zach and Jay show. We're living in the best time in the world to be alive. And like I tried it with the tech company. Yeah. I had no right running a fucking tech company and playing PhD data scientist at 20 years old, working on data sets by universities. Like the YouTube channel, Why Wait? We're living the best time in the world. Why wait to live it? And so yeah, like I'm doing the same thing now. I was hungover on my auntie's sofa in Jardín Balbueno, about 20 minutes away from Mexico City Center, on a sofa. So thought of a YouTube idea, DM'd it the CEO of this $100 million company. He was like 31, and he went, 12 minutes later, you got back saying, bro, that is amazing. How do you advise me on stuff? And I went, oh, I'll get back. I'll send you a report this week, mate. Don't worry about that. I was fucking gassed, but I was like, oh, I'll send you a report, mate. Sent him like a 3-page in-depth report on everything they're doing wrong. Gave him a 3 out of 10 on like their YouTube current performance. He just said, you're hired. Didn't even, no price. Don't worry about that, mate. You're hired. And
who is this? What's the company?
I'd rather not say the company name. I'll tell you. I think you know, right? You know.
I know it is.
Yeah, I'd rather not say the company name. But yeah, and yeah, man. Like I sent them over the proposal of what I've done. I didn't know how much to charge. Like a mentor in Manchester used to help me in my first business. Like I said, charge 10k a month. So I was like, nah, that's way too much. Fuck that. So I was like, well, yeah, fuck it. I'll charge 10k a month. And yeah, they said yeah without blinking an eye. Like I sent over a 6-page report on that I got a template on Google for free. The CEO just signed it like straight away, no ifs and buts. I've done my first like level of like there's 5 steps to my consulting process, and I've sent the first one over. It's fucking amazing, man. The other client I've got as well, I've sent over, like the first step is just doing a shitload of research on the content within their space with like 30 different ideas, all within like 3 or 4 content strands. She's released the first video from my recommendations and it's performing like 430% better than her average video. Like just in the AdSense, it's got like, I think it's on like 400,000 views when normally she gets like 80,000, something like that. And even the AdSense alone is an extra like 6 grand on what she normally earns 10 days after releasing it. Yeah. So like that advice is worth, and also it's not like this is a great idea, you need to do a Mr. Beast and hire a helicopter and jump around. A lot of the ideas, they don't even require that. Like that was filmed in half a day and shot in her house. Like she didn't leave her house. It's just identifying the highest performing content in a niche. So yeah, man, I've just like identified that format, and yeah, now I just advise fucking multi-millionaires on how to run the channels when they're dog shit.
Yeah, it is. It's just weird how full circle that is sort of gone. But it makes sense. Like the reason you're able to sort of charge what you charge is because of the 4 year, well, like 3 years, I suppose, obsession that we had with like going into it, but also that mixed with what we developed on the course, like really, and probably you before uni, like with selling tickets outside venues, was just like that just like the thing that people aren't willing to do, just like give it a go or just like send that DM, or like the intelligent sort of approach, which doesn't really take much other than a bit of like self-belief, and that sort of landed you in a place now where you're sort of enjoying being in the space again.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's why do you think it's different this time around? What do you think's changed other than like where you're at?
I think subconsciously I was saying I'll be happy when and I'd be happy if. Where now I'm saying I will be happy even though. So like even though, like, mate, I was fucking, my second week or third week in Mexico, I was in Chiapas, the poorest state in Mexico, paying like $10 an hour to learn Spanish. The teacher was probably getting paid, like, to a school that then paid a teacher, who could probably work 3 hours a day. She was probably getting paid like £3 an hour. She'd come in with a big smile on her face, like so excited to teach me. And I was there with like fucking 50 grand in my bank account with way more coming in. And I was like, this isn't right, man. It's like, I'm just not happy. I feel no life. And it's like, I kind of felt, I felt guilty and I felt bad that I had money and whatever success. But I think the thing that I've realised now is, there's a different level of poverty in the spaces that I've kind of been in, like Mexico and stuff like that. And it's like, we're so lucky, man. We don't even realise how fucking lucky we are with just like the most basic stuff in the UK. But And so what are we going to do to take advantage of that? Is that to like build really big things and chase loads of things, which is what most people do? Or is it to actually like experience life and feel that freedom that we've got from kind of desperate poverty? And that's just what I try to realign in my life, is just like, look, I've got everything I need in life, but I don't feel like I've got everything I need in life. And so I just kind of, that was like my sole focus, and like business was second. And then when I started feeling that, then I got so much energy to think creatively and get out to people and send them ideas. And it's not like a you don't click your thing, but you have to kind of rewire your brain and rewire your attitude and just go at things in a different way and just like take little steps. And one thing I realized is I just had this constant anxiety that was just sitting in the background. And I kind of, instead of fighting with that anxiety and saying like, how to get away from, like, get out my life, I had to kind of like make peace with it and like listen to it and feel it and think like, where are you coming from? Like, what are you trying to tell me? And I kind of realized that I didn't really feel enough in life, and I thought chasing all of these big things, that would make me feel more. And
what do you think that was, like the desire of an end goal? Like, did you have a picture in mind of like a 50, 60-year-old Jay, or like someone who's retired with in a nice gaff in Stockport with like a big garden? Like, what was it? Because I've definitely still got that. It's like the desire for something in the future, and like that definitely takes you away from the present and enjoying what you're doing. So it's like I get the tussle. Like, I've got aspirations for stuff I want, and I don't know whether that wanting is the flaw in itself.
I think so. So for me, when I was like, so I kind of really went into entrepreneurship, like part-time wise, kind of always from like 12, going out washing cars and stuff. But when I kind of really went into it was like 16, 18. But when I really went for it is when I was 18. And I think from like 16 to 18, my dad left my mum. I was kind of left, not the man of the household, but I'd like kind of be. And and I don't think I really like emotionally grew during that stage. I kind of closed off and said no to my emotions and started to feel insecure, didn't feel enough. But I noticed when I started to go to business events, I could like put on this energy and I could excite people, man. Like I could go to them and say, look, I want to do this. And they'd be like, wow, you're 17 years old at these business events, like with cool ideas, like you're going to make it. And I just started getting pats on the back and like reaffirmations. If that's a word. And so, and I just like started going down that route, man. And then I'd go to university and I'd get so gassed and I'd try and impress people running a tech company that's doing this. And like,
I was going to say, you were that guy at university. Like, my first memory of you was on the taster day when like everyone's getting to sort of know each other. It's that sort of like everyone's a little bit awkward. You find someone you like sort of you hang about with for the day. And then like, there was a time where we had to call, like Skype the people in Finland or whatever, and they were like, who wants to do it? And like, without even thinking, you were like, yeah. And you were just straight on the phone with them, and everyone else was just like sunk back in their chairs like, wait, what?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you were just like, that like gas, that confidence, that just fucking energy. That was like, seemed to be you all the way through uni.
Man. I felt like I had such pent up like entrepreneurship energy, and on that course of like the entrepreneurship, I just had to let it fucking go. But yeah, and that's the thing that I kind of struggled with as well, because I love entrepreneurship, I love creating things, but am I creating it for myself, or am I creating it to like run from myself or hide from myself and like be a shell around myself? And I realized that I kind of was. And now I'm just kind of doing both. Like, I'm coming from like me first, then entrepreneurship. And so it's been an interesting ride, man. Been an interesting ride. Like for me now, and I'd love to talk about you and where you're at and everything, because I know it's not like it's been a crazy fucking ride for you, but that's kind of been my last 12 months. But for me now, like I'm at an interesting stage where it's like, right, okay, my target was like 10K a month revenue, and I did that quite quickly with these two clients. And then it was like, then now I was like, right, what do I do now? And quite quickly I said, right, I want to get 100K a month because that's what you do. That's the adventure. But I was like, yeah, when I started on, like, since that second business and since even the Zach and Jay show, or since the NFT education business, or the education business that was going to teach people on education, NFTs, and the Zach and Jay show, I was scared of setting ambitious goals because I saw kind of where it got me. So I was like, 100K a month, I don't actually know if I want to do that, because that would make me feel quite trapped. So yeah, I've been saying, like, what do I actually want to do? And I've kind of realized I'm doing this kind of intentional life design course at the moment. And one of the things is you got 100 words there, narrow them down to 10, narrow them down to 5, narrow it down to 3, narrow it down to 1. I've only really narrowed it down to 3. But like my values that I've identified from that is like freedom, adventure, and purpose. And I've always kind of been on the adventure side, which is just hustle, 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 create big things that scare you and stuff like that. Purpose side, that's kind of been a bit in the background, but freedom, that's not ever really been a part of the question. And that's now what I've identified within myself is like, I want to feel free as fuck. And that's the thing of like living in Mexico and in the UK as well, is like, we've got so much freedom. We're so fucking lucky to have everything that we've got, but we don't really feel free. We focus on the things that we don't have. Like that's one key thing for me is like freedom throughout that adventure. So now I'm saying, I basically I was trying to set my goals throughout this course, and I've kind of realized like I'm just living them right now, like 10K a month, 2 or 3 days a week work, and just like feel free with that extra 2 days. And like freedom to me isn't working 3 days a week getting paid a load of money. I want to apply myself from my purpose point of view. 12 hours a day, I don't care about doing that, man. Like I want to apply myself and building like things that get me really excited and add value to the world. But I need to feel free while I'm doing it. And I've definitely never felt free before. So that's what I'm playing with. That's what I'm dancing with at the moment, is like feeling free. And that was a cool realization for me.
Yeah, when you were saying that, I think that's huge, because also it's the realization that you are free, that like you give yourself permission then to like, you know, if you're, like you said, you're willing to work hard as fuck, but then if you're not feeling it, you can just dip out, and it's that freedom to do those things that will, like, in turn not make you feel stuck, which is the complete opposite of what you want. But yeah, on that, like as well, the saying no to the financial goal thing, I think for you especially, that's huge. I feel like one pattern that I've seen in you since knowing you from, when did we go uni? 2014, has been like a focus on like monetary success. And there's been other stuff like along the way, and like you said, the freedom and like creation of things is definitely like in the forefront as well. But to sort of take a step back monetarily, realize that what you've got is fine, and if you want to increase that as you go, that's great. But like not running at 100K a month goal is a big one for you, I reckon.
I mean, to be honest, I realised like the Zach and Jay show, man, like we were making, I don't know, we had like hundreds of thousands in the bank, we were making really good money, we had hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and it's like, I think that was the big turning point for me. I was like, right, success is done. It was just like, now it's just achieving more success. I was like, but I don't really feel that good now. And yeah, that's like when I just started going, what the fuck, man? Like, so it's just millions now, and then million subscribers, and 10 millions, and 10 million subscribers. And then that's kind of when it stops and started to turn. But yeah, man, that's pretty much been me, bro. That's pretty much been me. There's like what I've been doing work-wise. There's attitude where I'm at, like where I've been. Last little point I'd say as well is like, people, I think when they saw the me leaving video, like, oh yeah, respect and stuff, but and it's cool making those brave decisions, but it's not like life changes like that. I think even for another 8 months after that, and that was already after being pretty depressed for like 6-7 months. 8 months after that was tough, man. It was super tough. Like, yeah, like leaving this. Yeah, but like leaving the Zach and Jay show, breaking up with the girlfriend, setting up a business, that failing, traveling, just feeling super lost. Like it was not easy whatsoever. So yeah, I just think some people think like, oh, to be happy you make one decision and then you'll be sweet. But like it was a journey.
Oh yeah, and that decision in itself was a fucking big one. Like that's not a light decision by any means. But did you find, not to dwell on it too much, but like, did you find when you made that decision that like having that door potentially open made that decision like easier?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think when you look at with big decisions, you look at it quite rigidly, don't you? Like I was saying, I didn't want to leave the Zach and Jay show because I think it'll be worth tens of millions, and my plan was to become a billionaire with this and all this stuff. It was such like the best case scenario ever, versus the worst case scenario ever of me just being a bum and like working a job that I hate and stuff. When there's always got quite a middle ground. So yeah, I can come back in 6 months if I want, and yeah, there's other ways of like of spinning it so it's not as rigid. Yeah. But what have you been saying, lad? Because I mean, yeah, like you said it on LinkedIn, man. Like the brand, you know, the Zach and Jay brand, that's gone. Like business operations, that's gone. The emotional aspect of having your best friend is also like best friend is gone. The business strategy, like is gone. Like, you know, just that whole process, like everything was literally just like, that was fucking crazy. And that's, you know, we worked blood, sweat and tears for that, put all our savings on the line for that. All of that is just gone. And yeah, look, and you're killing it now, man. So it's sick to see, but I'd love to hear like what that was like.
Yeah. I mean, it was, since like, I'd say like since January, well, even before January when it was all getting hashed out, we've not had like the best time have we over the past 12 months, just in terms of like the stuff we've had to like deal with. And for you, it was like figuring your shit out. And what I want to make clear is that I think people still, they assume that like you left and there was some drama and all that sort of stuff. But like, I think that the whole decision-making process of you leaving, at least for Mexico or at least for the 6 months, was like, you need to sort your stuff out. You need to like figure out your own happiness and fulfillment and get that shit in order. And then if the Zach and Jay show is to continue after, so be it, sort of thing. And that was my sort of attitude when I realized how like, just in a bad way you were. Like, it was tough to film videos. I felt like I was having to get you excited, so I was expending more energy to try and get you on board with like the vision. And I remember one point was like, we met in a cafe in between yours and mine, like in Haggerston, and just sat there and we tried to come up with a 1 year plan, 3 year plan, and 5 year plan. And I just remember being sat across the table from you, and I was like typing some stuff out, looking up at you, and every time it was just this blank expression, like you were adding absolutely nothing. And I was just like, I was getting pissed off. I was like, like, why am I creating this fucking vision for like what we're doing? That point like really stuck with me. But yeah, I think over the time you were in Mexico and we were sort of having little catch-ups here and there, and then you were feeling slightly better and you were excited to try something out. You were like dabbling with a few things. That was when I started realizing that the door was like, I was like, oh shit, the door is actually closing. Like, you're probably actually not going to come back. But I think I sort of remained hopeful. And probably that a lot of that was like a coping strategy. Like, I didn't want to, like, you gone felt like a temporary thing. Which then in the meantime, I was like, yeah, I can just like make a few videos here and there, whatever I fancy, I'll sort of do. But yeah, then when it came around to like sort of January, when like the business stopped paying you like whatever arrangement we had on your salary, I was like, right, this needs to be a sort of decision point. Like, this is the fork in the road here. Like, what are we saying, sort of thing. And I think I found that's when I found it like the most difficult, because I was like, I've sort of put me second, which I was like fine to do, and sort of made that cool. But yeah, now I felt like I was festering and the channel was stagnating, and I just like creatively I just didn't know what to do. Like, I think initially I was like, well, am I even gonna enjoy filming solo? Because your whole pitch with like linking up on YouTube was just like, the whole reason we set up the Zach and Jay show is because it's just way funner. So yeah, it was just like all those sort of like decisions. Then I was just like, fucking hell, what is this even going to look like? And when I look back at the videos I was making at that time, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, man, some shite there. Like they had like good intentions, but I was just lost, like just trying to figure it out, trying to sort of I don't know, just trying to look back on the day when I filmed the video and just be like, yeah, that was sick, without sort of lying to myself. So I guess what that materialized in was just not really uploading that many videos, just sort of,
man.
just sort of, yeah, like doing fucking like following a paparazzi and that was fine. Like I was genuinely interested in all those things, but not really being strategic. Like I feel like what you and me always had, even though there was a level of inconsistency with the topics of the videos, but what we always had was like the strategic thinking which underpinned all the videos, whereas I was just going out like, fuck it, I need to enjoy myself right now, what is making me curious at the time. And yeah, I do, like when I look back on that period, I mean this year I think I've only uploaded 7 videos since January, but yeah, there was a whole lot going on in the intermediary between then. Like I think, yeah, but I feel good now about everything. Like since renaming the channel, and since you and I are having like illegal shit done that had to be done to sort of like put that fucking marker on the Zach and Jay show, I don't know about you, like I've just felt a level of freedom, like, and just, I don't know, it felt like that was just over both of us. Like it was just like a dark cloud that was just surrounding it, which then made it hard for us to like even chat as mates. Like it was, we would, but it just felt like there was some, like an elephant that in the room that we weren't really chatting about. Yeah. And it was like, we need to sort this out at some point, but it was just hard.
Yeah, it was just long, wasn't it? Like the time zone, and like you were busy on like the channel trying to take that all, but yeah. I was busy setting up a business.
Yeah, well, because it got to January, which was like the 6-month mark was passed, and then that was when the thought came to like, right, we need to start sorting stuff out. And then we would talk like once a week, but like then a month would go by so quick. Yeah. And then before you know it, it's 9 months past, and then we're no clearer on like what we sort of wanted to do both individually. And I think it'd be interesting to hear where you were at, because what I felt was that you still didn't know necessarily, or you didn't, there was part of you that was like not letting go of the Zach and Jay show, because why would you? Because it was all you had thought about for the past like 2-3 years. And then there was part of me which was realizing that you weren't coming back, and unless that you were back 100%, I sort of didn't, I couldn't really have you on board. It was sort of like a weird, I felt like we were, that was like the toughest conversations, I think, to have.
In my mind, I don't know, man. I just think like when I think of me and you together, I just think of loads of potential, and like especially with a big YouTube channel. So yeah, I was just like, how else can we involve? Like what else can we do? I wanted to like letting it fully go. You were quite clear on that, and I was like, oh, let's play around, let's have a little see. But you said, I think this will give us the best chance of working together in the future of some capacity. And I don't know whether, I mean, like I completely agree. Like, I don't know whether it'd give us the best chance, but like it would give us perfectly great chances to work together in the future and stuff. So like, yeah, man. But yeah, during that period was fucking horrible, man. Like, I was going for a breakup with my girlfriend, who like I fell fucking deeply in love with, man, and a business launch that was going terribly, and then this shit as well. I got triple whammied, and and then like my mum came to see me a couple of weeks after, and I was just like so unpresent with her. I felt I was working so much that it felt shit, man. So yeah,
I think when I realised your mum was out there, I like stopped replying to you, because I knew that like anything I'd send, like I just remember I seen a photo of Patsy on your Instagram story. I was like, I can't
do this to him.
Be negotiating with terms and money with Jay while his mum's out there. Like I felt guilty for her.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. Like you obviously didn't say, look, I'm going for a breakup. Like that would have felt, I don't know, that would have felt like you were trying to emotionally manipulate me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, but I was like well, on my side, it was like views are tanking, and immediately your head goes, right, the channel's over because Jay's out of the picture, and also the channel was still called the Zach and Jay Show, so that was like mounting frustration. That I was like, I wanted to change it, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to change it until everything that we had sorted was like underlined. I didn't want to like feel like I was pushing you out the door or whatever. And I was just like, I was building this channel called the Zach and Jay Show, and all these new subscribers, like the channel froze out basically, but like how many subscribers came in? There was always new comments saying, "Who's Jay?" and like which one of them is this guy? And like I was like, fuck's sake, I'm building this fucking brand which might not even exist in a couple of months. So that was frustrating as fuck. But the main one was like the confidence. That I think I just had zero confidence in anything that I was making at that period. I was like, I don't know what title is going to work for this. I don't understand the whole fucking thumbnail thing. Like all this confidence that I had before that, like was just gone with every video I'd upload. Like I'd lose more confidence, which is probably again why like there wasn't much output, because I was almost scared to sort of scared to do anything. When I thought one of the biggest assets of us two working together was like we always had the attitude of just fucking experimenting with shit, and we weren't really that afraid to sort of fail publicly. So it was a period of a lot of uncertainty. But
I bet.
I think I realized over that time, like I said this so many times, I was like, I just need to get better at YouTube. Like I need to feel like I'm starting from zero. And that's just sort of when I went sort of back to school on it, and just sort of just did a fucking load of walking, to be honest, just like walking the dog, listening to podcasts, sort of obsessing over little details, just trying to like refresh the ideas list to like a point where I was excited again. And to be honest, that's only really came back in the last like month. So
nice.
It's 2 months probably. So yeah, it's that was a long old process, but I feel like we're both feeling a lot better now.
Yeah, I think both of us just like we're in places of extreme uncertainty, not doing just not in the best headspaces. Mate, running a YouTube channel, it's horrible. Like there's moments where it's horrible. Like when it's not looking good and you're all alone and you got like you must have been spending like 10 grand a month on the rent, Scott's wage, your wage, whatever else. Just like not knowing what to do, just seeing 10 grand a month to go down and down and down, and just like not knowing, not knowing what to do 2 months, 3 months. And in YouTube for like big videos to work, I think sometimes it can take, there's like a 6-week lag of coming up with an idea or just selecting an idea, producing it, editing it, making it sick. That's costing you 15 grand. And just the emotional side of that uncertainty when everything's on you, you feel bad, but you need to feel good to start to do great work. It's like, man, it's an emotional, it's a tough one. It's all credit to you, man.
Yeah, as well. Like I think like people assume that we did well with the channel. Like financially, we had like some great results and shit. But I think when people see YouTubers, and that, like I know that I did when I was watching YouTube and not making YouTube videos, that I assumed everyone's just millionaires and shit. So like the financial pressure is like a real thing. Like especially when you've got commitments, costs, employees. Like I got this studio because I wanted, this was like a rebound project. Like I was like, Jay's out the door. I need something to take my focus for like a month or so. And then this was like just an expensive thing that I was doing. And I remember actually being sat in here, and Scott lived in West London, so he wasn't even editing from here. And I bought this space to like get excited for the next phase of the channel. I was just sat in here by myself. Like there was a table that I had for an editor, and it was going to take Scott like an hour and 20 minutes to get in every day. And I was like, there's no point in you coming in. So yeah, I was just like, spent so many nights in here just fucking twiddling my thumbs on my chair, just like, why can't I think of a fucking idea? But yeah, the money side, it was horrible seeing that go down. And like, it at the point where you left, and obviously like you were paid for your involvement in the channel, like that the money was at like the lowest it's been in so long. I was just like looking at it like, fuck me, that's a horrible feeling. But the bet is that like the bet that I was taking, the bet that you was taking, that like whatever we're gonna focus our energy on next is gonna pay off. And luckily, like it seems to be rebounding slightly with the recent videos and shit. But yeah, it's not a nice feeling when you've got all the emotional side, which is like the friendship, which we were both desperately trying to like not fuck up, and then you've got the sort of like stress of like this thing that you put all the energy in that feels like it's just going down. and then you've just got money going down, down, down. It's just a feeling I hope to never feel again.
I think you will though, man. Like,
I think also.
Like, you just kind of like, one thing I've realized, you just kind of, it's never plain sailing. Like when you're up, you never feel like you're going to be down. When you're down, you never feel like you're going to be up. And it's like building that resilience and remembering those moments of low points the next time you feel a low point, and remembering those high points when you feel low as well, that you can get there. Because they're never like, I don't know whether it's just our space, but they're never that far away. So like to turn around videos for you, it's not like 2 months. It may feel a long time when you're losing 10 grand a month, but it's not that long. And same with me, like I spent 4 months trying to set up a business that failed. So that wasn't a penny for 4 months. And I gave myself 2 months to do the consultancy stuff again. And it was like, 6 weeks. And I realized towards the end, I was like, I'm not going to get a job, mate. I'll give myself another 6 weeks. And then I told myself, and I was like, I'm not getting a job after that. So I went, fuck this shit. I need a consultant. I'm going in. But just before the 6 weeks, I signed my first client. And then a couple of weeks after, I signed the second one. I was like, that's sweet. And so that in 6 weeks, I did turn around I think it was 5.5 months without getting paid a penny, which, it does turn around. It's remembering that, man. It's remembering that for the next time.
It's the, it's the lizard brain, innit? The fear sort of response, that like the self-doubt comes seeping in, and then you just like welcome it and you start playing with it. And do you know Believe in Bruce? Believe in Bruce is like a YouTuber. He did like psychological breakdowns of like fighters' body language, like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, KSI, like in press conferences. And I watched his videos when me and Simone did that trip to Bali in 2019. And I just thought he was a funny guy. He's like a Geordie guy. And then when I was like in this dead uncertain like headspace of just like, what the fuck am I doing? I got him on the phone because I was looking for like a personal coach, like a mentor. Basically, it's just someone who would just be like, sort your fucking self out, lad. Like, and he said this thing of like the truth ladder, where like you start with a thought, and my thought was say like, you know, the channel's never going to recover back to where it was. Like every video I was making was like the views seem to be going down. And he was like, so you've taken that thought and you've ran to the top of the ladder with like your entire career's over. Like, but where is the evidence of like the middle steps there? It's like, we always just run to the top of these ladders and like you start with a thought and like no evidence to suggest like that will continue to go that way. Yeah. And that for me was like, I realized that I was just believing a lot of my own bullshit at the time. Yeah. But, I suppose you gain confidence just by doing shit, and I realised I had to like force a few videos out and to get the sort of get everything flowing again. But good shit, man. I also want to say like I think we both deserve a shout out as well. One of my biggest reliefs when we all got everything was said and done, you know, I purchased your shares off you, the channel was renamed, like was that I just felt like I felt so buzzing beyond all of that being over, like the relief of all of it being over. But the best thing was that like I feel like we didn't fall out. Like we always put that at the forefront of like just like handling the scenario was just like I don't know. I felt like we were very careful with it, and I remember we made the decision not to get any lawyers involved until the contract stage. Yeah, because I felt like just speaking through a lawyer would have been like passive aggressive 101. Yeah. It definitely got to the point where we definitely annoyed each other on a few occasions, but I feel like we both had empathy for where each other were at the point. And like I knew that you were just trying to do the best for you, and I was recognizing the value that you put in, but there was so many times there where I was like, this could have been so much worse. I almost don't wish it on anyone. Like I remember George Bettany saying to me, this is going to be like the hardest thing you do as mates, but also like as in business probably. Really, I think on reflection it was. It's weird because like definitely up there. Because I did it with George Sanderson. It was a piece of piss. So I bought his shares, and I just thought it'd be kind of exactly the same. But it wasn't easy. And there were certain moments when you'd send a long email using like big boy language, and I'd be like, oh, hello, and then I'd be like, and there's certain moments, especially like if I had not slept very well the night before. That sounds so lame, but like 3 hours sleep or something, and grinding out a shit day, and then my girlfriend and ex-girlfriend going crazy at me, and then I've got this email. I'm just like, this guy is he trying to fuck this guy? And then I'd have to like
shut the fuck up, I'd chill out, but yeah, there was moments where it got dangerous, and I felt that big sigh of relief, big time, man.
Yeah.
Emotional sigh of relief as well, like, yeah.
But I think that's why it took so long as well, was that like I was trying to be clear in my communication and not leave anything up to like sort of interpretation. So I think that's probably where like a lot of the professional language came from. But yeah, I would take like days, sometimes weeks to reply, and you'd have to remind me to reply, and there was nothing that I wanted more than to get this behind us. But I was like, I'm not in the right headspace to do this, and I would like have to get in the zone to like even sort of go about it.
But we were kind of, I think we were both like putting off stuff that we didn't really like. It was not fun, so we were both putting it off, and it just longed more than it needed to be. But where would you say you're at now with the channel? I'm intrigued just from, well, as a mate, but also like from a viewer's point of view, man. Like I'm excited to see what you're doing, man. You've done some really sick shit recently.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, I think it just experimenting again. Like I think the realization I had was that a lot of what we did was, we just sort of we did what we wanted, and not necessarily thinking all the time what is going to be the best for the viewer at the time. So like we would nail onto some really good concepts which would bang, and then we'd be too precious around repeating them or like innovating on those, because we didn't want to be defined by that. And the same reason why we didn't want to be defined by sneak-ins, we would always change it, and almost like to a fault. I think like somebody said to me, like when I was making the Fashion Week video, not the Fashion Week video, the paparazzi video, it was like, why did you make, it was like, first of all, who's your audience? And I was like, males 18 to 25, UK based. He was like, why would anyone give a shit about Lady Gaga from that group? And I was just like, it was like a mini explosion in my head. I was like, why have I've been making videos without thinking who the audience is? Like I went into that paparazzi concept saying, I think this is going to be an interesting video because it's this underbelly of society. Everyone hates paparazzi, but what is it actually like? I didn't think what the actual content would be. So when there was like, oh, Lady Gaga's in town, we're going to be chasing her, I was like, yeah, that is the content done then. So I was like, that was like probably one of the biggest realizations for the next stage, is like, I need to enjoy what I'm doing fundamentally, but I also like, I need to marry that with like what the audience want to see as well. I think whereas before it was like, especially in that stage where I was trying to figure out what I would enjoy after working with you, I was just doing stuff that I would fully enjoy. Like the journey to the remote pub, luckily that was also, I think it was a banger video. But then the pub crawl, it was like a lot of escapism stuff. It was a lot of just I need to get the fuck out. Yeah, both are good vids. I do think, but it just feels slightly more intentional. So I'm definitely still in the discovery phase of like figuring out what I want to do and what I feel like the audience, what I can offer the audience and the platform that nobody else wants. But the videos are just taking a ton more time. Like me and Scott are just like sitting in the studio, just like replaying intros and context setting sections, and just like we're going insane to the point where we hate the video by the time we put it out. And annoyingly, it seems to be working. Like the retention graphs are better, the results are better. Like the thumbnails are just like an art form that I'm trying to get excited by. So we're going on like full day shoots for like thumbnails now. Like we borrowed a mansion the other day. We hired 2 models for like 400 quid a pop, and like we drove like 2 hours out of London just to get thumbnails for a video that's going out this Sunday. So it's just I'd say in general it's like a focus on quality rather than like quantity, and just sort of going back to basics and
that's
starting over really.
Sick, man. I had I want to know like where you want to take it and stuff, but I had an idea that you need to fucking film now. Literally book a plane and come here now. So mate, there's a drug. It is fucking crazy in Colombia called escopolamina or scopolamine. Yeah, Vice did a documentary on in 2012. It got 40.
Is this the Devil's Dust?
The Devil's Dust. It got 40 million views. It's. I've asked quite a few different people, but I think it's got a lot worse. I was having dinner with a lad last night. 2 weeks ago, he was going to go for a drink with his Tinder girl, and he went, "I need to charge my phone. We can either meet in an hour and a half, or you can come and chill. We can have a drink at my place while I charge my phone. Then we can go out." She goes to his house. Yeah. she's like, oh, I'm a bit nervous, don't want to come to your house, I've never met you before, can I bring a friend? And he was like, yeah, sure, cool, no worries. She asked him to get some water. He goes and gets some water. Next thing he remembers is a woman massaging him and then waking up the next day. Laptop stays there, but his phone's gone. All his camera lenses have gone and all this stuff. It's a drug where you take it, you don't realise you've taken it. There's no like onset things or anything like that, and you're compliant with what they say. So like he gave away his email passwords, his just all of his sensitive information. God. They locked him out of all of his banks. They spent like 25 grand on his credit card. I think he got most of it back, but if they'd locked out of his email, they would have been able to access his crypto, which I don't know, like tens of thousands as well. But mate, it is unbelievable, and yeah, it's coming out from like. Women are getting men, I think like men are getting men as well, but like I think that video needs to get redone again. I'm thinking the thumbnail could be exploring Colombia's, exploring the uprise of the world's most dangerous drug, on the street view with two sex workers on your right and left, because they're at it.
I'm Ross Kemp.
They're at it as well.
This is the devil's dandruff.
Mate, George only knows 3 people in Colombia. One of them that he spoke to said, just watch out, man, it's well more dangerous. And the 2 others got scopped themselves, like got it themselves. So I'm interviewing and hearing this story. Also like ways to avoid it. So you can blow it in the face, but I think the most common way is putting in the drink. But that is a video that is like yet to get, that could get silly viral. For the 18-year-old people, silly viral.
I remember seeing the Vice one and just thinking, how is that real? That it seems like a storyline to like a movie.
Innit?
It's insane.
But it is.
I would be scared for like my personal safety doing that. Like what? if you go rooting around making a bit of noise, mate, trying to interview people.
Oh mate, the real viral video is me, you and George with one security guard each, one video man each, seeing who gets scopped first and how bad we get scopped. But like that's you know, that's not a sustainable viral video, but that's the real viral banger.
Say, yeah. Trying Devil's Dust for 24 hours, what will I do? Devil Dust controls my life for 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly, mate.
Yeah, that's insane.
But yeah, that's a silly
there's definitely a lot to be done out there. I'm scared to be with George out there, you know. Scouse George out there.
Yeah. I mean, I got here, I'm here for a month now, and I got here last Monday, and yeah, that it just swallows you up, the city, man. Like you just get so much adrenaline and energy from being in a city like this that I got ill Thursday and Friday. We were going to record this last Thursday. I got so ill Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like I'm feeling fine now, but yeah, you need to set your own barriers, because if you go at the will of yourself in a city like this, you go too crazy, man. But what do you know, like what you want to do with the channel, like where you want to take it? Are you like just assessing, you know, you've got your strategy and how to make videos better now and go more viral and stuff. So are you just going to focus on that, or like have you got like an end plan or anything?
I'm being very intentional with every video that goes out at the minute, just on like just how it's made. We've binned off a few videos, like the video's going out this Sunday. I don't think it's going to get 1 million views. But that's what I'm trying to, I think when we were like running the channel, we felt weird about having view goals and subscriber goals. And then of course, whenever we focused on subscribers and made that publicly known, it backfired in our face and we got cancelled for it. But like before then, we genuinely didn't care, did we? We as long as we were paying ourselves and we felt like the team was growing, that was great. And I remember, like, the thing that would get me was like feeling neurotic about having to upload and being on that treadmill for content that we were always on. So I feel like I'm at the stage now where like I've taken the foot off the gas, but the results of the videos going out once a month are getting like 3-4 times the views as like a video would if I uploaded one every 2 weeks, like I used to try to. So yeah, it's trying to figure out creative now. Like, and that's packaging, title and thumbnail, but then also just like how to tell a fucking interesting story, how to make people give a shit, and then the next stage is building the team. So I've just hired a producer who came with me and Scott on a trip to America a few weeks ago. She was fucking amazing. She was everything that I'm not, just like hyper organized, just like big picture thinking, and like that's when some level of consistency comes in. So the next step really is just like the growth of the channel and the revenue will come from like executing on just more amazing ideas that I'm genuinely excited about and telling great stories. And like if I can up that to do it as regularly as possible, not hold myself to any like crazy goals which are going to stress me out and make me feel neurotic when I'm not uploading, like that's my goal for the next year. I see this like investment in the team and investment in the content as like a 2 year sort of payoff sort of thing. Like I'm not really making much profit at the minute. Like I'm paying myself, I'm paying Scott, I'm bringing on a producer, I've got the studio space, and this is everything that I should need from a bare bones perspective to make some of the best videos on the internet. And then just sort of as and when I need somebody else or like want to tag somebody else in because there's an empty void I need to fill, then I'll do that. But I haven't got any aspirations to grow the team to like, I think when you left, I was like, I want to go big. I want to grow it to like a 10 plus team. Don't want to do that anymore. I just want to like have a sick core team of like really effective, creative individuals that I love spending time with, and just continue busting out videos that I can say I had a great experience filming. And like that's it really. Just simplified it.
That's unreal. I mean, honestly, I think no one else is really doing that. So I think you'll be one of the best creators in the UK with that. And I always think you are making some of the best videos in the UK. But like, it's when it's when you've got that team. It's when you've got that energy. It's when you've got the know-how. When you've got all these like the systems in place, but as well as the creativeness, and you're just in that flow. Like no one can compare with that. I don't think. Like when I think of the teams in the UK and how people are operating it.
And I think one of my biggest frustrations always came from like feeling like we had so many amazing ideas and like on that list is still some of the ideas that we came up with like years ago, and we just didn't have the means to execute on them as quickly as we wanted to get through them, which would have made way for more great ideas and stuff. And like that was always a huge frustration, and you and I were never any good at that. Like you were like the driving force, the energy, the fucking like the big picture thinking, and I was like more on the sort of creative element on the ground with the videos. But like we never had someone to like really lay like an order and a methodology behind like just getting this shit done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just like I said, taking the pressure off, like taking the stress off of like, you know, uploading as much as possible, taking the stress off of earning as much money as possible. I'm trying to take the piss with brand deals. Like just I got one going out this Sunday, which I've just submitted the brief for, and I think there's a 95% chance they won't accept it and they won't ever work with me again. But it's the only way I'm going to do the brand deal is if I'm allowed to take the piss so much that it's like obvious to the audience this is just to pay the team and just to keep more videos coming.
And I was going to say, like, are you charging way more for the brand deals now? Like, if you're getting 4 times the views, like, I think we were charging like 10k a month. Like, if you could get 40k a month, 40k a brand deal, that'd be fucking insane. But I don't know if that's how it works.
So at the minute, because of the inconsistency of times once past, aka the terrible uncertainty that we were both going through, like that was just like shit views. So I was basically, they take your last, in general, brands take the last like 10 average views.
Really?
So at the minute, my market rate is like lower than it should be, but I've secured one brand deal a month until Christmas, and then January I'm going to reassess, and I should be able to double comfortably double the price. So, but like I said, like it's not the biggest concern. Like it genuinely is just like if I can afford to make the videos and fly the team out to like LA or like Texas where I've just been, like that's what I do. Like that's what I want to do it for. And obviously there's going to be a point where I do want to build equity and money in the business to like do other stuff outside of making the videos. But yeah, it's not really a concern, at least for the next 12 months. And I think that is like felt like a great relief, just like allowing myself that freedom where, in theory, if I can 3x the views by just spending 2 months on figuring the fuck out what the channel needs, then hopefully, you know, the beauty of YouTube is that the sky's the limit really. And you're seeing it with Nico Amalani, you're seeing it with like Airac, with Ryan Trahan. They've just raised the bar on what they were doing like a year, 2 years ago. So the goal is to get there really. And I think like views is always such a, like I said, we were never really that gassed on views. But I think now I've realised that I'm actually gassed on views because it's the amount of direct feedback and like that your video is popping and is doing well, and that's like an exciting thing. So yeah, I
think Nick uploaded 12 videos last year or over the last year and grew like 1.6 million subscribers, and one of the videos alone, is that right? It's something like that. And then one of the videos alone got
30 million banger.
30 million banger that got him 960,000 subscribers in that 1 month. So that's not bad, is it? But yeah,
no, that's unreal.
You are seeing that trend of like people uploading less. Like James Janney, have you seen his stuff? He does crazy videos. But he went away for 6 months and just posted one video on like the tyranny of churches or something like that. The devil of mega churches or something. And yeah, that got him 100,000 subscribers from that one video. And he's only uploaded 18 videos and he's got 1.18 million subscribers. And I spoke with him the other day and he's working on a video. It's hilarious, man. He's like, been working on this video for like 3 months. I'm hoping to get it out within 6 weeks. I'm like, fucking, just working on the audio or something like that. It's like 6 weeks on the audio. I'm just like, bloody hell, mate. And, but yeah, it's funny. But then you also see people like Alex.
That's freedom. That is freedom.
It's freedom,
that is
but
freedom,
you speak with him, you speak with someone like that and you say, what's your problem, mate? Consistency. And that's what he's thinking of. Remember when you speak with Nico? It's consistency. You can't have it both.
Yeah. You can't have your cake and eat it, I think. And well, that's the theory I'm testing now anyway. But you're never going to get to a point, or there is going to always be a trade-off at some point. And it might be that like, and that's why I want to keep a small team as well, because I feel like these businesses that you may be working with, like 10, 20 men team on a YouTube channel, but they will never be able to buy people in to who they are or what they do, as well as an individual with a team of 2 who will sit down and ruthlessly analyze and edit down to the down to the wire. But I feel like what I was trying to say is I bet if you asked him what he would prefer to be doing, there's nothing that he'd prefer to be doing than doing that video. So like the fact that it's taken 6 months is like, obviously that is a fucking long time, and it could be quicker, but like for where he's at the minute, like that's unadulterated freedom to have the money and the budget to go and do that.
So what I'd say about freedom, because I've been thinking a lot about it recently, is like, it's not like you're looking at him and saying he's got 6 months to make a video and he can sustain his life. He pays his brother to do the editing. You should watch his videos, by the way, they're sick. But like he feels trapped, or he doesn't feel free because he's not uploading enough. When he's uploading perfectly fine amount, like he's profitable, he's growing like crazy, and over 1 million subscribers. That's
perception, though.
Exactly, and that's what freedom is, man. It's not like you're looking at someone like nearly said a client name who's releasing like 2 shorts a day, 1 long form a week, growing like crazy. And he said, are you free? No, I want to be growing more. I'm not saying that that's what she'd say, but like it is perception. Like when I didn't feel, when I started seeing my coach and started doing this like freedom work, or like trying to feel better and feeling free, my mental was telling me, oh, I'm not making any money, so I can't feel free. Like I need to make some money, I'm too busy. And then as soon as I started making money, I started saying, oh, I'm going to lose these clients. I need to be worried, and I need to work on this stuff. And both are exactly opposites. And there were reasons why I couldn't feel free, and now I'm like, fuck that shit, I'll fucking feel free, you little dickhead.
Well, yeah, no, it is the internal perception, isn't it? But it's so hard to feel that about your situation. Like I remember, I met Uber Butler, like it's probably going back like 6 months now, but you know, remember our perception of him externally was that he's like the true artist of YouTube. He's not a YouTuber. He's a journalist. He's taken seriously. He comes in, dips his toe in on one of the biggest like news platforms, Vice, in the world. He comes with a creative idea. He takes the internet by storm with it, and he bows out and just goes until he wants to come back. He's an enigma.
Yeah.
And then when I went and met him for a coffee, he was like, "Man, I'd love nothing more than to like upload or like do more of these projects that I care about. But I just don't have that. I don't have the ideas." And like his perception was that like, yeah, felt like he was like failing on that front because he wasn't doing it often enough, and like he didn't have his own channel, and he didn't have the freedom. He had to do it through Vice, and like he still felt like a bit of a fraud.
Yeah,
for doing it that way. And I was like, fuck.
It's why
it's just so interesting how.
Yeah, it's why I say, man, like that's what I was doing. It's pretty much what everyone does, is that I'll be happy if, or I'd be happy, I'll be happy if, or I'd be happy when. And now it's just like, I'm going to be happy even though. It's like, that's the first thing. And like, even though everything's not fucking right, like that kind of comes first, really. And that's the thing, man. It's like,
do you know what I've been trying to do? I've been trying to reframe I have to with I get to.
I get to, yeah. That's a biggie.
It's the small ones like that, isn't it? But it's like I was trying to get this brand deal script done before, and it was like fuck, this is annoying that I have to do this. And now I've got this podcast with Jay that I have to do for like 2 hours, and I was like, I don't have to do it. I get to chat to Jay for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's fucking, yeah. It's all an perception. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, mate. No, it's just that big thing that I've really, because we know these things, man. Like theoretically, we think about these things of, oh, we're very grateful, we're very lucky, but we don't feel them. And that was the big thing with me, is like, right, how do I feel that gratefulness?
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Well, we've completely pied off the sort of structure we had, but I've just seen one point on that, which I think it sort of relates to this sort of this area now. Well, it's sort of like two, I guess. Like, what is it like to come into money for the first time in your life, and then also like what fame is like when it happens, and how does that affect you? I think they'll sort of be answered in tandem.
Yeah, I think money makes you feel more of how you already felt. So if you felt really happy going into trying to make money, money would make you feel happier. But if you didn't feel great and then you came into money, it makes you feel less happy.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because it won't change anything, and then when you realise that you're still unhappy, but with money you feel like a fraud?
You got nowhere to hide, man. It's like, oh, I'll be happy when I've got a load of money. Oh, I've got a load of money, I'm not really happy. Shit, what the fuck happens now?
Yeah.
Or if you're really happy and like, and that, mate, that's where I'm at now, man. Like, I've got, like, with the Zach and Jay show, man, we travel, I remember so vividly, and this again is a thought, I should be happier than I am, or I should feel happy. There's something not right here. When we were in Seattle, we just done the 4-day bus ride. I think we had like 10 days there. We were filming 4 videos, like we were in the grind mode. A lemonade stand outside Bill Gates' house, seeing what we can get for free. We were flying around in helicopters, getting free drinks, going out everywhere, like on paper, the sickest thing in the world. And then the last day of filming, I think we were flying out at like 2 p.m, but we had to get another shot with Bill Gates' house. We were staying in a mansion, the nicest house I've ever seen, overlooking a lake. There was orcas that went by when we were on a kayak. You could smoke weed there, so we were buying legally, so we were buying weed, just getting high. You know, it was unreal on paper. And then it was the last day, we were getting a shot at Bill Gates' house. It was like 6:30 we got up. We got there at 7:30. We filmed for like 2 hours, then we went straight to the airport. It was on the way to the airport, after all of that shit, that I felt the best on that whole trip. I was like, there's no pressure. And we went to an American diner and got some pancakes, and I soaked it in. I had banter with the waiter, and that was the best moment. And that's fucking mental, right?
I remember you saying that.
And I
was annoyed at you for saying that. I was like, nah. But like, I mean, it was definitely true for you. Like, I think the stress was definitely, it's nice to, oh, hang on, my camera's just, yeah, we're switching to webcam mode after for this last little segment. Scott, don't worry about it. Okay, fine. Yeah, I remember. I definitely remember that the stress of, because we wanted that trip to be like monetarily pay for itself, or like at least be worth our time. The stress of having to do that definitely. I mean, it would have been more fun to not film that many videos. That's it.
Yeah.
But I still look back on those experiences with like, with gratitude, and like I feel like it was third-hand fun, a lot of it, which is like, you know, it's like, it's not necessarily fun in the moment, but I'm glad that we had, getting drunk and doing that pitch in that WeWork was, I'd laugh about that when I'm like 80 years old. That was just ridiculous.
And you're right.
And then also the day with Mike.
Yeah, the jet skis with Mike and that water, I don't even know what it's called, where you power water out your feet and you hover. It was mega. I remember even in that moment with Mike as well, going, I'm not feeling this, you know, I'm not connected to the moment. It's not giving me loads of, like, I felt a barrier. Like, I felt like I'm like, this is amazing, but I don't feel as good as it is. And like, I don't know, I felt blocked. Like, I'm experiencing 50% of this. And there's a few times in life that I felt like that. But yeah.
Yeah. And then how about the sort of fame side? I feel like we've experienced a very low level of fame in our time, but it's still a really weird alien concept to sort of get used to, isn't it?
Yeah. It's weird, man. Like 2 days ago, I was having dinner with my Spanish teacher in Scouse George, and this lad with this terrible haircut with a mullet. He's like, "Oh yes, mate, can I get a photo?" I was like, "Yeah, go on then." I was in a beach in like North Colombia in this national park, Tayrona Park, just chilling at a beach. Just random guy from Croatia is like, "Oh yes, mate, love your videos. How you doing?" And he just had a chat, and I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The four corners of the earth, lad.
I know. But I don't know. I'd say when you think about wealth and you think about fame, it's quite easy to kind of be a little bit insecure and say like, oh, I'm not famous as like David Beckham and all that stuff, or rich as him. But I think being rich, honestly, I think being rich in the UK is like 60 grand a year. Like you're rich then, and you don't feel it. But that's the problem with kind of money and that and wealth and fame, man. If we went out in Shoreditch and stuff, we'd get stopped like 5 or 6 times. I think that's fame, man. Like that's normal people don't get stopped once or like once a month maybe, but like 5 times a day. That's pretty famous. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I've got any profound points there. I found it a bit weird when like you'd be in a restaurant eating with someone and like your demographic, your 18 to 25-year-old lads would be like looking at you, and they'd have their mates there and they wouldn't say hello, and you just know they're looking at you, kind of talking about you, and be like, be normal.
A sense to it, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a few turns like that. Like in general, I do love it, and I feel like with YouTube, people feel like they know you to the point where it makes it effortless to chat, and like it's sort of skipping the awkward part in it. And there is definitely like awkward interactions or weirder interactions, but the worst is the people that like do stuff on the sly, or like, and you can tell because you can feel their gaze in the eyes, and then like it's like a group and Simone's even started realising it now.
Mate,
like, I don't know, we
old
was in
housemate
Cornwall the other week, and
Rowan started clocking it. Like we'd be walking out, and he's like, "Do you notice when people notice you?" And I was like, and I just subconsciously thought, "Oh, he's one of them. He's clocked." And Rowan was like, "Yeah, he was looking at you a bit weird." And he was like, "Yeah, you kind of get a bit used to it." What happened in Cornwall?
Yeah, I was walking past 3 lads the other day next to like it's like the little hotspots in it. Like it was a 5-a-side pitch like there, and there was a load of lads outside it, and I was like, right, let's see what happens. And you just saw like one head, and then back to his mates, and then 3 heads.
Yeah.
And I was just like walking rude, just like walk past him, and he just goes, "Nice YouTube, mate." And I just like, I just involuntarily laughed, and I felt rude because I didn't have anything to say, and sort of like carried on walking. I was like, oh, was I a dickhead then? Like I just went, but it just made me laugh. But I was in the woods yesterday as well, in Hampstead Heath, and some girl and her boyfriend walked by, and she was like, I thought she said something, but she said it to him, and then like this is quite a good one because they were behind me, and then she goes, "The second issue," and I was like, I carried on walking, but I was like, oh, I wish I turned around and went, yes.
Yeah,
but,
I love that.
Yeah, it gets in your head a little bit, because then after you're like, oh shit, was I a dickhead, or like, should I turn around?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's pretty mega. Like I think I prefer not like. Yeah, you can't have the best of both worlds, but like Mexico, I don't really get it. Like I've had a few people say something, but like when it's like the perfect balance is nice. I think like on a beach, like that guy that was sick. The other guy kind of just came for a photo. I'm always a bit weird with just photos, because I'm just like, where's that going? Like, is that I don't know. Like, do people care? Man, I've not made a video in like a year and a half. Like, what like who am I? But yeah.
Oh, that's good shit. Well, was there any of the other points you wanted to razz in? I've got my camera.
To be honest, man, I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
I feel like we've touched on a lot of them just through like chatting generally anyway.
Yeah.
Without it being too rigid.
Defo, man. Defo.
Have you got any parting thoughts? Because I feel like this is the first time, aside from your stories, which are little snippets of you living life, this is like a chance to chat to the OGs, the people that made took our life in a weird direction, and made 2019 a crazy year. 2020 less so. 2021 definitely not. But
not really to them. Well, thanks for watching the videos. No, yeah. I think we touched a lot of people.
Not that you have to say something, but
yeah. No, I mean, but I think like I think we like touched a lot of people with like our approach to life, and yeah, that was cool to feel that community. That's one thing actually I really miss about the YouTube channel, is like a community of people that kind of share the same values and are after the same things, and like I'm building for myself, but I'm not really like sharing that with other people and like getting input and like and getting like, that's a good idea, that's good. So yeah, I want like more of that. So yeah, if you want to get involved, like Twitter's kind of where I want to be creating some
Active
stuff. But yeah, other than that, man.
Did you want to do any quick? I put on my story on Instagram, and some people wanted to ask you a few questions.
Can do, yeah. Go on then.
Who would win in a boxing fight between us?
Me. I've been in boxing. I've been doing boxing like 3 days a week. Yeah, in Mexico anyway.
Have you?
So, yeah, your nose gets
waiting for the
snap
call up
off.
for. Fair. How was it working with your best mate? Did it impact your friendship?
Good, man. Nah, I don't think it really did at all. It's kind of crazy, actually. Like we'd finish work after like a crazy work, and then just like go for a beer or some shit together. And like,
do you remember lockdown? Lockdown, we were working all day together. Then we'd cook each other dinner, and then we'd go play footy.
And then smoke a little.
Simone was the victim in all of that.
And smoke a little doobie. Yeah, lockdown. Normally, like if you lived with your girlfriend, you spend more time. But me and Zach just snuggled up, me. Don't worry about that, Simone.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah, I put on mine as well. Let's see what I got. Mate, if I look like I've been shivering throughout this interview, it's not because I'm hooked on some sort of drug. It's just absolutely freezing.
Okay, have you got any mad travel stories from your time away?
Fuck me. 2 weeks. I think you'll think I'm some like Buddhist hippie after me talking about happiness and chasing. Not last Friday, the Friday before. Landed at 6 p.m. in Medellin. It's my Spanish teacher's birthday. She's turned 32. Nice little quiet rave. Fuck me, it's 1 a.m. when I'm coming back to my hotel. The guy in the concierge who checked me in 2 days before was just like, he just knew. So that was a world record.
Oh, wait, 2 days later?
It's like a 30-hour rave. Yeah, it was. Yeah, went out Saturday night, came back Monday morning.
Oh.
What else? Nah, man. Nah, nothing comes to mind. Nothing comes to mind.
I've got a tough. If you want a tough one, I'll give you a tough one.
Go on in.
Which would challenge you. If not,
yeah, go on in.
Somebody who's obviously not that happy themselves.
Yeah.
Said, "Why is Jamie a capitalist pig whose main ambition was to use your platform to make 1 million quid?"
I don't even want to answer that, man. I'm not even fucking answer that shit. That's another thing I know.
It's the classic thing, though, isn't it? I feel like people see the external stuff and they don't see like the thought and the fucking everything. There was probably a lot easier ways to make money than starting a YouTube channel, right? Like we risked a lot to fucking make that a success and make some money in the process, but
yeah. I don't give any attention to them little weirdos, man. Like, think about what kind of person, like, where are you coming from to write something like that? Like, why do you care, man? I did a tweet, which was a bit of a joke. I'm watching like that Mexican guy fight KSI, and
yeah,
and someone just commented, "Oh, an irrelevant YouTuber pipes up," and I was like, what are you saying, man? Like, why? Like, what? Imagine. I can never imagine me going to a guy like, oh, some stupid actor doing a tweet about something. Ha! Why are you tweeting, dickhead? Like, it's like, where are you coming from? I'm not even gonna argue with you.
One of the reasons why I was too scared to start YouTube way before I did, was that I cared what people like thought of me too much, and then over the process of like going to uni, meeting people like you, sort of realizing that there was a bunch of weirdos on our course who wanted to call themselves entrepreneurs and that was okay. But like before then, it was just like the idea of like wanting to do something that wasn't normal was like punishable, especially in our hometown. It was like small little town vibes. And there was this clip of ASAP Rocky which I found where he's being interviewed, probably on Vice or NME or something like that, and he was just like, just said it in the coolest way. I'm gonna absolutely like murder it, but he was just like, since when has it been like uncool to try? Fuck you. He's like, it's fucking cool to try. It's cool to try something. So the fact that you've tried YouTube, absolutely smashed it, made it a full-time thing within a year, and then you've decided to leave, it's like, how is that the fact that
Mate.
how does that make you an irrelevant YouTuber? It makes you someone who's had control over the past 4 years of their life.
What is it? Mate, I'm not even a YouTuber. Like, how could I be a relevant YouTuber? I've not made a video in a year and a half. Like, I just.
You're a friend of a YouTuber.
Yeah.
All right, let's end this with a quick one. Will you ever be seen on the channel again, the Zach Alsop channel?
Yeah, probably. Like, yeah, probably right. Like, I'll be in the background or doing something. I imagine so. If you're going to create your videos for 5 years and we'll stay good mates, I imagine that's in there. I've had a little. Like, since being in Colombia and Mexico and having all these ideas, knowing the thumbnails, knowing the titles, knowing the hooks, I just break it down systematically into a high-performing video. I'm like, I could do that. So, I've recently been like, oh, create content. But it doesn't give me freedom right now. But, yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, it's on the radar.
It's a strong maybe.
Yeah. But, yeah.
All right, sick. Well, if there's any ideas I come up with and you want to fly across the globe for them, I'll chuck them in your, chuck them at you.
Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. But now I'll let it on. Just to reiterate what we said, man. It was what crazy fucking journey with me and you. Very proud that we stayed friends and everything. I'm like super excited with where you're at, and just even hearing more about where you're at as well. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that you're absolutely going to kill it. And yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at as well. So I'm happy for the both of us, man. Really happy for us. And you're coming out in Mexico in. You don't even know, man, but in a month and coming out in 5 weeks. So yeah, man, that'll be absolutely sick.
I'm a little bit scared for the trip. But it's fucking good. And like, I'm glad that we're both in a place where we're like, not I wouldn't say happy is the wrong word. We've been saying happy a lot, but like I feel like we both feel fulfilled in what we're doing. We both see light at the end of the tunnel, or have seen light, and we're sort of like moving through that now. And I'm glad it's not a one-sided thing as well. I'm glad that like it's not one of us like smashing it and the other one just like being fucking in a pit of desperation. So
yeah, same.
It's a success, eh?
That
would have been well shit.
Gives a beso.
Wait, let's give him a Zach and Jay show. The final one ever.
Nah, I can't be saying that.
3, 2. Okay, all right, we'll give him a high quality
3,
Zach and Jay show
2.
ASMR version.
1. Zach and Jay
show.
Fucking hell, man.
Right, nice one, guys. Cheers for watching.
Jay and Zach.
Show.